Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ango, and I'm back with the news video. I am still a little bit under the weather, but I do appreciate you guys being patient with me. Today, we're talking about a Bret Hart update, and yet, for some reason, we're still asking the same questions. Also, a big change happening to NXT. Maybe this is the change that WWE needs. We'll talk about it. Also, WWE has reportedly banned AEW Backstage, plus we're talking about the ROH TV deal. All of this to come in today's video. As always, if you guys want more 7 days a week, you know where to subscribe. Now, with that being said, Dave Meltzer has come out with an update in regards to Bret Hart. As of right now, it appears that Bret Hart specifically signed a merchandise contract with the WWE, and therefore technically still arriving to AEW could be a possibility. Now, we actually talked about Bret Hart shutting down the rumors before at that signing event that was live streamed about a couple weeks ago, or around WrestleMania time. But then, of course, you know, obviously AEW continues to have a lot of homage to Bret Hart, CM Punk and his attire. Also, Dax and Cash in their one-on-one match on Dynamite was a very nice homage to Bret and Owen Hart. Obviously, a lot of similarities between the two matches. So the question begs, is Bret Hart still able to go to AEW? And technically, anything at this point is possible. But it does appear that Bret Hart will not be making a return to WWE on television, as he has only signed a merchandise agreement. Now, WWE could have very well put it in the agreement that he can't arrive to any other wrestling promotion that is televised, only indies. I'm not sure if WWE would have that type of control on a merchandise contract, but it is technically a very interesting situation because we normally hear about Legends contracts, and this appears to be something a little bit different, and who knows really what's next at that point. All right, guys, if you are like me, you know that I enjoy NXT, and sometimes it gets people a little riled up. I understand a lot of people don't like that, but WWE could very well be planning to return to Full Sail University. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that there is talk of bringing NXT 2.0 to the Full Sail Arena. Now, I think WWE 1000% should go back to Full Sail. If you guys remember what NXT was like before it left Full Sail, you would know that that's when NXT was really the best product ever, and it had a mix of everything. It was a developmental brand first and foremost, but there was a lot of things that WWE did on the brand to elevate the style of pro wrestling, and I think that's why we saw the NXT Black and Gold brand sign so many indie wrestlers. Now, there needs to be a hybrid of both. I think pro wrestling needs to have the entertainment, it needs to have the wackiness, it has to have the cringiness. But right now, as far as booking goes, literally they've been spot on. If you actually watch NXT 2.0, I know I've read your comments. Some of you actually agree with this. Most agree with this. The booking is logical. It makes sense. You don't see a lot of 50-50 booking. You don't see a lot of DQs. A lot of people enjoy that about NXT. Now, with that being said, yes, there are a ton of over-the-top characters, and I think that is important to have in wrestling. But you also got to be able to have good wrestlers on the show, which they do have. So WWE going to NXT's Full Sail Arena could be like a really big deal, and it could be a very welcome change, really, because I think, you know, the branding to NXT is fine, but I don't like all the colors. So this could be a way for WWE to go back to Full Sail, maybe even revert back to Black and Gold, kind of do like a homecoming episode and then make the change permanent. Because I think if you keep the characters, I think if you keep the storylines, you keep the wrestling, you keep the same mission, but you just change the physical appearance, I think a lot of people would be a lot nicer about NXT. And that's why I'm all about this. I think this is a welcome change. I think Full Sail was great. And I think sometimes the Performance Center just became a little too overly done. And the Performance Center became home to WWE, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. It definitely became somewhat of an issue as time went on. And now that COVID is kind of like, you know, it's still there, but COVID is not really taking over the world in terms of shutdowns and you know, all of these different things that we've seen, right, with lockdowns and rules and mask mandates and stuff like that. Now that that's pretty much all out of the way, I would think that this is the right move. And, of course, I think WWE going back to Full Sail could only help the NXT product even more. Guys, if you missed it, I made an announcement that the Ango show is headed exclusively to Twitch. This doesn't change anything with your daily videos or anything like that, but you guys should check out the link in the description because we'll be going live starting Monday, May 2nd, and I'm really excited about that. All right, guys, we got a super thanks Q&A, this time from Scott Combe, or Combe. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. Sorry, Scott. Thanks, Ango, for being the first to bring the wrestling news to us. P.S. Daily Watcher question. Any news on ROH TV Deal? Do you think they will do a week show? This is in regards to a weekly show. And yes, Scott, I do think ROH will have a weekly show. I don't quite know where they will put it, but I think there is going to be a TV deal announced within the coming months. At least by the end of summer, I would expect a new home for ROH TV. Now, the real question that I have here, Scott, is whether or not AEW and ROH will have a TV deal that is live. I think it's apparent, even though I enjoy Rampage more than Dynamite because of its 1 hour, I think there are definitely a lot of cons to doing a pre-taped show. And while ROH may not be the most valuable asset right now for Tony Khan, it is one that has a lot of potential. So if Tony Khan is able to go live every week with ROH, give it an established roster, or somehow tied into the AEW brand, I think there's a lot of good that could come out of it. But if ROH is another pre-taped event, I mean, that gives you Dark, Elevation, Rampage, and ROH being pre-taped. I just think there's going to be a lot of negativity that comes with that. I remember when Rampage and Dynamite go live, I feel like the public response has been a lot better. So while we don't know when the TV deal will be announced, I expect there to be a TV deal. There is expected to be a weekly TV show, and I think it's going to be really, really important that they knock it out of the park. First impression will really make a difference for them. With that being said, guys, I want to switch over to our final topic. WWE has officially banned AEW. Well, we've heard rumblings about this in the past, and now Ember Moon, aka Athena Palmer, she's brought some insight to this with Chris Van Fleet on Insight, his nice little beautiful podcast talk show. Chris Van Fleet is one of the best when it comes to these interviews. I really enjoy listening to them. And overall, it just seemed like Ember Moon was very, she seemed kind of frustrated with what's happened in WWE, and obviously, she's a wrestler's wrestler. She's been doing it for a very long time, but also I don't think that takes away from the experience that she's had. I think she's tried to be as successful as possible, and it was really interesting when you hear this interview. She was saying something more specifically. I'll read it to you guys. I was seeing everything going on at AEW, and I was like, wow, that looks fun. That looks like what I thought I was going to do. For a while, we couldn't even talk about it backstage because they were like, you shouldn't be watching the competitor. I was like, how do you expect us to outshine them? It was different because I wasn't watching for film. I was watching because I was envious of what was happening there. I would text Dustin Rhodes, and on occasions, he would respond back. We sure are having fun over here. I'm like, I see that you're having fun, Dustin. How are you? How's life? Don't rub it in. Now, guys, this is interesting stuff to me because I think WWE has not necessarily been talking about AEW publicly on TV, but it appears that, banning AEW backstage or whatever it may be, I find it interesting. I do. I don't know if it's like a big thing, like a bad thing or a good thing. I get why they wouldn't want your wrestlers to watch a competitor, but I actually do agree with Ember Moon too, that if you want to beat your competition, you should see what your competition is up to. And by the way, they all have friends within both companies. People at AEW are friends with people in WWE. I think that's really, I think it's kind of silly, but I kind of get it. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like torn behind this. But AEW is banned from WWE discussion, and that's really what it comes down to. I find that to be extremely odd, considering that most companies don't even think that way in 2022. But hey, maybe there's a reason for it that I don't know. I'm not really sure. It is what it is. Now, with that being said, guys, this is the end of the video, which means you have an opportunity right here to watch the next video. And the next video here is going to be a big announcement that I have made on this channel. And if you guys could subscribe to the Twitch account, I would greatly appreciate it. Follow the Twitch account. This is amazing stuff. Our first major streaming deal. We've turned down everybody. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.